This is a barefoot shoe. Big difference. I mean, look at the difference in padding and cushioning shoe to shoe here. It's insane. Well, hello again. It's been a wild couple of weeks. We're now 4 weeks out from the Great Divide 100. There's a lot going through my mind. In the meantime, don't forget, Mr. Health and Fitness voting is still going on. You can find the link in the description. You can also find my Strava profile. You can also find my Garmin profile. If you're on either of those platforms and we're not connected, let's get together. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do the algorithm things. Got a lot going on at home, got a lot going on at work, got a lot going on with my training, trying to figure everything out all at once. It's a little tough, but I feel like I'm getting ready, I'm getting close. And even if I'm not, the important thing to know about the Great Divide 100 for me is that it's a training race. It's a long training day. My A race this year, the one that I'm pointed at, the one that I want to perform my best at, is the Cowboy 200. And the Great Divide 100 is just a warm-up to that. It's a really long, very well-supported training day. I'm gonna do 100 miles or so. I'll have all kinds of people around me to help. I'll get a chance to test out some new gear, more to come on that. And I get to get out and see what it's like to go beyond 50 miles. I've not done that yet, so we're gonna find out what it's like. Spent some time this weekend up at the Quad Rock 50. Supported a buddy who was running the 50 miler up there. Didn't have the day we were hoping for. Still had a really great day. Seemed like an excellent event. He crushed it. He was performing well. He really kicked butt. I hope he's not disappointed with the result. I was super impressed. That's an 11,000 foot gain over 50 miles. That's a lot. For reference, the Great Divide 100 gets 14,000 over 100 miles. You get twice the distance to cover just a few thousand more feet. 11K and 50 miles is a lot. Really impressive performances out there. Really well-run event. Had a lot of good food, vendors, and for being as far out as it was, I was really impressed. So if you're looking for a 50 miler in the early May timeframe, check that one out next year. NAR Runners, great event. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about shoes, and at the risk of being the shoe guy, which I don't want to be, because I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who's worn a lot of different shoes, has read a couple of books, and is trying to figure things out. We're going to talk today a little bit about barefoot shoes. They're starting to be in vogue. I'm seeing a lot more people using them. I'm seeing some people just going straight barefoot. Interesting choice. And I'm seeing other non-runners using them with success. So what are they? Why have they suddenly entered the popular vernacular? Why are they suddenly at the forefront of our minds? Where did they come from? There's a book that you can point to, and I've mentioned it a couple of times already on the channel, Born to Run. If you haven't read it, read it. It's interesting, at least. There's discussion about a tribe in Mexico called the Tarahumara. They run distances well in excess of 200 miles, basically in strips of rubber that they've tied to their feet. I have a pair that I ordered from Zero. They offer kits, they offer pre-built sandals. I bought the pre-built ones. They're interesting. They take a lot of time to get used to. But Born to Run really brought the concept of barefoot running to the public consciousness at large, especially to the running and ultra running community. These tribes run these 200-mile plus adventures in these sandals. A group of people went down to figure out how it is that they can do that amount of running, that distance, that amount of time on that terrain. It's very rocky, it's very rough. They live in a very inhospitable environment without modern shoe technology and without much injury. There's no such thing really as injury for them. It happens from time to time with a misstep or a rolled ankle. That we can expect, but they don't show the kinds of use injuries like we see here in the States. We don't see shin splints, we don't see IT band issues. We don't see as many overuse injuries, the Achilles problems. That doesn't exist for them. So how is it that they can run barefoot and not get injured? And there's a lot of discussion in the book about modern shoe technology and the way that it has coddled our feet, the way it's pointed our toes in, and it's reshaped our feet instead of allowing them to be in their natural state. Along with that, your foot has dozens of muscles, dozens of bones, individual teeny tiny bones within the foot, and modern shoes don't generally allow us to strengthen the muscles in the foot the way being barefoot does. There's stability issues. So if you have a high stack on your shoe, but you haven't strengthened the muscles in the foot and the ankle, you're much more likely to roll your ankle than you are when you're barefoot. And the more time you spend barefoot, the more you build up those muscles in your feet. Arches don't fall, your ankles get stronger, your calves get stronger. You can't heel strike anymore. And if you're a heel striker, you know a lot of injury can actually come from heel striking. You don't have to transition your stride, but being barefoot forces you to adjust your stride. Being barefoot, you can't heel strike because now you're putting all that force through your bare heel and it won't work. Your body will shut it down. It hurts. Conversely, if you run on the midsole or the forefoot, your body absorbs that impact and you move off of it. And so you don't get that same heel strike. You can't run in the same way. So it takes a stride adjustment to be able to run barefoot and to be able to run in barefoot shoes. What is a barefoot shoe and how is it different from any other shoe? If you haven't yet seen it, go back to my profile, check out my video about my Ultras. Did I waste thousands of dollars on those shoes? TBD. I don't think so. When you see that video, you'll see I bring on a couple of shoes. I bring on a pair of Vans and I bring on a pair of Allbirds. And you see how narrow those shoes are. Well, the first thing that I started off with was a narrow shoe in a Brooks. Then I moved to a Newton, and you can hear a lot more about that in my Ultra video. Most importantly, what you need to know today is that today I run in a zero drop, wide toe box shoe, in a foot shape shoe. This is an Ultra Olympus 4, has a nice wide toe box here, zero drop, meaning there is no height difference between the heel of the foot and the ball of the foot. It is level across that platform. You'll hear me talk about stack a little bit later here. That's this thickness at the bottom of the shoe. So this is a very neutral shoe. No drop, 0 millimeter drop. So this is what I started off my zero drop natural journey with. So today when I go road running, I am in a pair of Topo Magnafly 4s. You can see again, nice wide toe box, a natural foot shape, zero drop. Stack height is the same all the way across. Stack is pretty minimal. I am having a bit of an issue on the outside here. Not totally sure if that's sock related, shoe related, or just the workout I'm doing. Generally happens with speed workouts. So these are what I'm running in today. Okay, so what makes this a barefoot shoe? Well, you start off with wide toe box, natural foot shape, just like with the Topo and with the Ultra. You also have zero drop. So stack height here, same as here, no difference in height. Your foot is sitting level. It's not sitting up like that. Okay? That's all known quantity. What you can see here though is that there is very little padding here. Very little between the ground and your foot, right? Maybe people would not call it a true barefoot shoe. This is as close as I am going to get to a barefoot shoe for now. So why would you go barefoot? Again, it's those little muscles inside of the foot that you want to train up to be strong so that you reduce your risk of injury, you increase your longevity, eventually you can increase your speed, and eventually you can go further in these shoes, most of the time, than the others. Cool, right? Well, yes and no. Making a switch from a normal shoe to an Ultra already requires that you step back your distance, you step back your pace, and you ease into the transition. If you're coming from a shoe that is not zero drop, you need to slow down, you need to back off, you need to acclimate. you're going to be using a totally different set of muscles. Your calves are going to get really sore. You're going to find that your Achilles might flare up a little bit. You're going to find that your foot is a little bit more tired. Back off your pace, back off your distance, and acclimate to running in those shoes. That can take weeks of adaptation. Eventually, you'll be able to get back up to speed, you'll get back up to distance, and you'll have acclimated to those shoes. Well, the same is true if you're transitioning even from a zero drop or a shoe with a decent stack. If you have additional cushion, you're gonna have to take that time, you're gonna have to back off, both in speed and in distance, and acclimate to running in these shoes. Why haven't I done that? Well, when I decided I wanted to try a barefoot shoe, I was sick of Ultra blowing out at the side, and so I decided I was going to try something else. Well, at the time, it was very difficult to find a wide toe box, natural foot shaped shoe that also had a stack that was not an Ultra. So Xero, X-E-R-O shoes made in Boulder, Colorado seemed like a really good fit for me. So I got the shoes and I gave them a try. I did not and do not today have the time to properly acclimate to those shoes. So I use them today for strength training. If I'm working out in the gym, I might even start using them for my weighted vest hikes. The fact is, I just don't have the time to step back my training and acclimate to those shoes. I need to be running a 40, 50, 60 mile week right now because of the races that I have coming up. I can't drop back to 10 miles a week again to acclimate to a new shoe. If you have that time, highly recommend it. I've got friends who use them, swear by them, love them. That's great. I don't have that time right now. What might you see though if you continue to push when you're not ready to make that transition? Your calves are going to be really sore. You might start to see issues in your joints coming up from the knee to the hip, even in your back. You might find your shoulders are aching a little bit. The weird thing about running and injury that results is that pain is often referred, and where you feel the pain is usually not where the injury is. For me, I had a lot of foot pain running in those shoes. Because my feet weren't strong enough, my muscles and bones weren't acclimated to the amount of force going through them, I had a lot of pain in my feet, and it really wasn't very pleasant to run in them. My maximum run, I think, at the time was 7 miles. That's just not enough, and I could only do that once a week because then I was in so much pain for the rest of the week, I couldn't hardly run. So for me, it didn't work out. For you, it might. Maybe now's the right time. Maybe you're in between races, you're on a downtime, you have a moment to think about, do I want to make that transition? The shoes are certainly less expensive. A pair of Ultras will run anywhere between $120 and $250. A pair of Zeros can be had around that $100 mark, and the soles are a 10,000 mile sole, according to the marketing that Xero puts out. I'm a little skeptical of that because I'm generally a little bit tougher on shoes, but if I could get 800 miles out of those shoes, I would be thrilled. Again, I don't have the time to make that switch. You might slow down, run a little bit less, take your time, and get used to them. The more you're able to do that and slowly ramp back into your normal running, the more likely it is you'll be successful in making that transition. If that's a transition you want to make. Not everybody wants to. A lot of us enjoy that high stack. When you're in terrain that's less friendly, having a little bit of cushion is kind of nice. Too much cushion, though, for me, not fun. I feel like I'm just floating. I need to have feedback from the route that I'm running to feel like I'm actually in contact and in connection with what's happening with my body, with my environment, with my running. With a barefoot shoe, you're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get a lot of feedback. Every little stone, every pebble, you're going to feel everything under your feet as you're running. Good, bad, up to you. That's just how it's going to be. So let me know. Are you going to make the transition? What might you think about in terms of how much you cut back? What percentage of volume are you going to from where you came from? How much time are you planning on taking? Be interested to hear. I might yet this winter decide to make an effort at transitioning. We'll see. And we'll catch you next time.